And so we'll begin for the second time. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Enviroboy. You can call me Scott. We're playing Blueprints, and you might have thought from where we left off on the last episode that we would be continuing the previous run, in which we were excited about perhaps still having more run to do. And then I promptly drafted nothing but dead ends, and the run ended immediately within the first 2 minutes, so that episode will be lost to time because I sat there dejected and frustrated with things. And as a result of such dejection and feeling such frustrations multiple episodes in a row while doing nothing but trying to proceed in this game, I have made the decision to install a mod that will hopefully help overcome the nonsense that is the random number generation that this game depends upon. We've installed a mod called Resourceful Prints by hold on, we can find, I'll give credit where it's due, but the Resourceful Prints, how do I see who made this? It doesn't, by Evangelio on Nexus Mods, but modding the game because, frankly, as much as I am enjoying this game, there comes a point when it's like, I have so few objectives that I can try to achieve here, and I'm gaining nothing, and I'm only spinning my wheels as the game refuses to offer me the things that I would need for any of these given runs. So we're using the Resourceful Prints mod, which is meant to just give us the items that we would probably need for all of these, so that way we can actually make progress for things. It gives us all kinds of extra money and steps and everything, and we can just kind of keep grabbing all of these things and taking advantage of them. And you think about everything that this game needs, and there's only so much to be gained from doing this. So I'm shamelessly going to utilize these mods here if it'll let me. The appearance of it all is being difficult here, so we'll just get ourselves lots of money and lots of re-rolls, which will be helpful. We can grab our shovel and grab the metal detector and go about things that way, because this is just, frankly, it's getting absurd, and we just can't continue to do this. We grab ourselves a key card, and then are there no keys around? It would appear there are no keys as a resource, but that's fine. We've already gained enough stuff that we don't necessarily need a whole lot more than what we've already gained. The resourcefulness of it all is beneficial here. I'll just grab a few more just to be safe here. We can grab all the steps that we need to. Honestly, we might grab ourselves a few more steps here. Grab ourselves lots of steps, and now we can just go ahead and do it that way. And for everyone out there who's a purist, who says that I'm destroying the sanctity of the game or whatever, and you guys can go ahead and continue to beat your heads against the brick wall, or be proud that you got the lucky numbers to make it work. And anyone who says that the random numbers can be overcome, that's a really easy thing to say retrospectively, when you've already had just tremendous luck. See, look at this. We can just re-roll, and we can get ourselves some better things like the Zen. Try to make sure that we have good access to the rooms that we would want or need throughout this, and we can just sledgehammer our way through this and grab our gems and everything, and just be making sure that we're getting good stuff. See, already this is setting us up for a much better run, and these are the things that we want. And again, it'll give us some difficult things, but if we do this, then we can get ourselves a key at least, and go in here and grab that. And a single coin does very little for us, but we can grab the key and this thing, and already I can feel myself feeling as though there's more hope than I was feeling there would be beforehand, just because we've taken a few here. We might use a bit more. Anytime we go through here, we might as well make it worth our time. We have lots of steps and everything. We'll do this, and already this just does feel like it's a preferable situation. And it makes me more content to be sitting here beating my head against these walls, knowing that we've got whatever we need. We can just kind of hope for the best of everything. We come through here and this works. So now we have lots of options for proceeding forward, and this is already just making it a more enjoyable thing. The gems are in this box. The blue box is true. The gems are not in this box. Well, so one of these has to be false. So if the blue box is true, then the gems are not in this box. If that's... Okay, so hold on a second. I'm going to start with this one. If this one's true, the gems are in this box. If that's true, then all of those would be true, and we can't have that, so they can't be in there. So that one can't be true. The gems are in this box, which means if that's false, then the gems are not in that box. So then the blue box is true. Like if this one's true, and the gems are not in this box, and if that one's false, so that would make it so that this one would be where the gems would be, I believe. Yeah, and that was a proper belief, and we can take pride in that and find ourselves some coins and stuff and keep on going here. And so we have our drawing room, our chapel. If we do the drawing room, we can spend one of our gems and just have lots of access to lots of rooms. See, this is a good thing to be able to gain access. And frankly, this I feel as though the fact that we just have items and stuff to try to overcome the RNG is the move for this run, because the reality is that this game is one. What is happening with our metal detector? It's just like acting as though there's something here, but then disappearing. Is there something that we missed? Oh, the coins right there. But this is the way to do it, because it doesn't give us the solutions to any puzzles. It just gives us access to the puzzles, which is, frankly, as beneficial as anything else. Could just get the redraws or the redraws. We have unlimited. The passageway is nice, but spending 2 gems up front is maybe a lot. But at the same time, if we do this and can continue to have access to things, it seems like it's going to be the best way to do stuff. Because the other thing about it is having lots of potential rooms, and the fact that we can take the randomness off of the dark room seems good, right? Anything to reduce the random nature of things. We don't want to lose half of our steps here in the chapel. If we do the observatory, that could gain us some good items, and we have plenty of ways to progress forward, so we'll perhaps do that this time around. But just simply having access to anything that we might want or need within the rooms with 4 doors are more common today. That are more common today. So this is good things. And we can do this, and with lots of gems, it seems like a good thing. Coming through here, so we might as well just go ahead and do a little bit of munching and grab ourselves some free stuff as we come by here. And it seems prudent. It is strange that the one resource not present here are the keys. It seems like those would be kind of a helpful thing to have, but that's fine. It doesn't matter in the long run. So we can come here and we can go back to our den here. The den seems to feel as though there would be more items in here, it seems. I already looked in here. Maybe not. I guess perhaps not. It seemed like it was trying to say that. Oh, they're just access. It's just mentioning that stuff in there. So we come in here. A great hall. Lots of locked things. Lots of locked doors, which, you know, can be sort of a problem if you don't have a whole lot of keys. But at the same time, having lots of doors seems like a good thing for us. If we go, we see what metal detector. That seems to indicate that one has an item. Maybe less so that one. This one also. We'll use a key on this one and see where that gets us. If it can be a door that leads to more keys. Not more keys, but that's okay. We can probably find more keys and continue to the Great Hall. It seems like it would be necessary. I'm assuming this door will be locked as well. So we have locked doors, so it's... And this is the other good thing about this run, and maybe this is why it's nice that it's designed the way it is, and maybe it explains why it's designed the way it is, because it doesn't ensure and necessarily that we're gonna just automatically get everything. It's, you know, you still can lose runs and stuff, and that seems like it's still kind of to the spirit of the game here, and that's nice. But it already feels like has much more potential to be a good run. And we have the boiler room, which would be nice. So we have a couple other options of continuing things on. Perhaps we'll go ahead and get ourselves the boiler room. We've never had the boiler room before, and so this seems like it's probably going to be a beneficial thing. We turn this, get to the green there, and for any of these, trying to figure out what it'll lead to here is we do this, and then perhaps if we do that, that'll lead to those things up there, and leads to that, but not to that one. I'll try to figure out. This puzzle here is clearly meant to be something, so we can just sort of explore this and figure out what it's trying to achieve for us. If we wanted to have access to this, if we don't, doesn't offer a whole lot of clarity about what would get us to where. Perhaps it's a matter of trying to find. What if we do this? What does this do for us? Is the question, and it seems to have very little answers for us. That boiler connects there. We want that to connect, so it seems like this is... something is happening. We've extended a bridge. And so we can go up and see what that has gained for us. Come over here and try to figure out what the crap is up with this, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything for us, so it's a frustrating thing all on its own there. And we have a door over there that we can't quite see exactly what it's meant to be providing us. If we move this, okay, so that'll go away if we go like that, and if we go like this, it does not. That does nothing for us. Having it here did nothing. Coming over here, though, opens up. Okay, so if we have it going from there to there, so that seems the only way, and this goes up to top there. What happens if we do this now? From where it was. It seems to really do much at all for us, so that's, I guess, what it all is, whatever that means. And if we did this, it makes that go away, and there's absolutely nothing for us up there, it would seem. So if we come back over here and do that, but then this remains inaccessible for reasons beyond my comprehension. We can go through this door and see where this one leads us then. We might as well. Playroom, the archives. Again, the game seems determined to give us the worst possible rooms. And this is where having the redraws is a lovely option here, so we can see the cloister. What this does for us is unclear, but having the laboratory with the boiler room could perhaps be beneficial. Although we could always do something else, and this way we can continue to make sure we have access to other things. So if we come over here to the cloister, can we not access we can't access these dig sites, which would... It's like, you know, wouldn't that be a nice thing if we could do that, but apparently we can't. Find ourselves a key, finally a key. It's nice. It's kind of them. So what good the cloister is for us remains a mystery, but we can do this and we can have access in here. So if we come in here, see our dig spot, see if we gain anything beneficial, and got a key, which is nice. Yes, already it seems as though doing this approach where we can take out a certain amount of random number generation ruining of our lives is beneficial. The only other mod I wish existed and I could not find was one in which that perhaps we could find a way to redraw floor plans again. Again with the red rooms, it's determined to give us as many red rooms as possible. And if we perhaps build our pool to connect us back to the great room, that would be nice, and continue our run. Maybe we do this, because I believe that the boiler room probably does some cool stuff with the pool. It seems like that might be a thing. We have our key card for that one, but we'll do that one later. We'll stick with our plan since steps don't have to be an issue. I mean, I guess in that sense we could just do the weight room to get ourselves connected to a lot of rooms and stuff, but in fact maybe we'll do well, we can just keep redrawing until we find exactly what we want. The rotunda might be kind of interesting, so we can rotate things and maybe that'll be beneficial to us. The hallway with the key would be nice. With the corridor, let's see what else we get. Presumably we could just keep getting more things. Redraw again and again. Gymnasium, lose 2. Perhaps this is the move, better than the other ones. If we do this, it blocks us off from that room, but we can still loop our way around to the cloister, and this gains us access to that great hall, which is kind of a nice thing. The security room would be nice, as well as the East Wing Hall, although perhaps the security room isn't as necessary considering we have the key card now. So if we just do like the East Hall Wing to connect things and see what comes down here, see what we can achieve, would be nice too. The playing with mods here does in many ways beg the question, probably for many, like, what's the, what is this a valuable, legitimate way to play this game, or is this possibly taking advantage and ruining the spirit of the game? To which I say the spirit of a game, no matter what the game, is to be enjoyed. And if you don't enjoy a game, then you can either choose to not play the game and just buy ourselves a lot of gems here because we have unlimited coins. We're sold out of those. Salt shaker, we might as well. We have a sledgehammer and a metal detector already, so there's no need to purchase those. But my personal thoughts always with games is that the point of a game is to be played and enjoyed, not to be necessarily completely worshipped as it is, though many people like to do that with their Souls-like games and their general insistence that a game be something designed to only exist in a certain existence. I see it similarly to how one might... There we go. We can find ourselves a lever, and this is what we're after here. So we can open up at least one of our doors and perhaps try to gain access to this room. What else might be back there? It's hard to say at this stage, but we look at these doors and see it. They don't seem to be possessing a great deal of stuff, and since the metal detector is not hinting that there would be any items, perhaps we just leave these doors locked and don't worry about them. And so we can continue on back through here, and maybe just to play it safe, get ourselves a few extras here, and just a few more steps we might as well. The salt shaker clearly adds to it, even though adding salt to a cupcake seems quite disgusting, but for those who feel as though they are afraid to irreparably alter the experience that a game might offer, I respond to, A game can always be unmodded if you decide that it's not worth it, and B, again, the point of a game is to be enjoyed, and if playing the game as it is an unenjoyable thing for you, then perhaps it's worth considering that the game is not one that deserves the sanctity of being unmodified. And what I mean by that is not that the game is unworthy. There are plenty of people with a game such as this one that would consider me a monster for having altered things in some way, shape, or form, and that's a fair take that someone could have about it, but the fact of the matter is I was feeling as though I wouldn't continue to play this game with all of the absurdities that it was insisting upon offering to us. And so so the question then becomes, is it better to insist upon keeping the game pure for arbitrary reasons, or is it better to play the game in a way that feels possibly enjoyable? There's additional power piped in from the boiler room. So now that we can have access to a boiler room, let's see if we can find ourselves we've got a quick enough way to access it. Let's see if what we can mess around with from the boiler room first. Let's see what that does for us and try to figure out which room even is the boiler room here. This is how do we get ourselves access to the other room? We have that just powers down, or we power it up. Perhaps if we go that way, maybe if we lower that and but that doesn't actually do anything for us unless we can get up there and do stuff. So presumably we can come through here, and that does very little for us right there. So we must question what the crap is going on for any of this. If we do this, it accesses this thing. How do we, unless we halt, does this do anything for us? It does not. So we want to be able to access. This is confusing and difficult and frustrating. But now we can do this, whatever this will do for us. And so we have that going over there, unless we want this to go over here, in which case then we can pop this one over and see what happens to gain us access here. We do this. What does this do for us? We come up here and come up here, and there's clearly things to figure out. Turn on this boiler, gain access to things. If we swap that lever over, and presumably that'll make this open up, and that's nice. And we can gain access to that room. And then if we come up here, where does this take us? We need to pump, presumably, boiler power to that. If we come over here, maybe. That's fine if that door remains closed, but if we do this once, so we want to direct all of our boiler energy to this, and then we can leave the room, and that's fine. We don't need to access that door. We have all the access points, and that's great. So if we do this, and then we want to access, so we rotate, and again we rotate, and then for this one, we then rotate. And presumably this will gain us access up there, and we can see what's going on with like the activation and stuff, and see what that does for us. See, and now already we have lovely benefits of having given ourselves better access to things. And so we can have power, boiler room. How do we know which room this goes to? It's hard to say. It goes towards that, so power goes to there in that direction. Whether this is gonna do what we're hoping it'll do is hard to say. Perhaps if we direct it over that way, and that'll get us to pump power to the science lab or something. I don't know. Crap, I don't have the faintest idea of what's happening here, if I'm being perfectly honest, but we can continue to wander around and see what that does for us. If we come over here, does this do anything for us over here? Apparently it does not. How do we know which room? So that vent goes up there. Perhaps if we follow this and we can figure out. Let's see here. The weight room lose half of our things, but the weight room would access foundation, we can loop our way around to places. Security doesn't, although perhaps if we draw more floor plans. The rotunda, it's rotations. The locker room, spread. We could have keys spread through the house, seems beneficial. That might be good. Connects us to the foundation, although it does leave us with only the pool. But with so many redraws, perhaps that's not as detrimental. So maybe we do this one just to see what we can achieve with keys being moved to places. We want to check here. We have ourselves plenty of keys that we can try to figure out which of these lockers are more likely to have items. It's a confusing and difficult thing to try and figure out here. Check in here. Nothing to be gained in there. Nothing in there, nothing in there. Figure out the speed of the beeping. Seems slower there, seems fastest there. Slower. Seems slower. Or slower. Perhaps we try this one, use a key and see what happens. Find gems, which are nice. Perhaps another one here would be beneficial. See what these gain us. Very little. Mathematics worksheet, S-I-X. Or 61613. This seems like it's probably a clue for that one. Like it's probably a clue for the billiard room on how that works. And now we can go by our lockers here and see that we don't seem to be gaining anything from our metal detector. So perhaps we save our keys and they don't do anything else for us. So if we come here, if we look through here, we can see the vent goes in there and seems to do nothing. But if we wanted the vent to reach that, this does beep with another item here. Find ourselves a key. That's nice and beneficial there. Losing track of time here, and now my hands will be forced. I wish there was a mod that I could control how frequently or how be able to control saving at odd random times as opposed to being forced to just like deal with things as they are. So there must be a way to vent to the thing. So if we come here, perhaps if we loop around and we just go up and we can just check and see. So that one doesn't seem to do anything. What if we were to go over that direction and then go check on the from there, check on the laboratory and see what happens here. We are certainly spending a lot of steps, but as we know, we've got 160 steps, so it's kind of like just who cares about this, and we'll just go around. And this makes it much easier and much less stressful to try and solve the problems, and this kind of does in many ways get to the upshot of everything that I was kind of starting to talk about with using mods. Is it's like, you know, you can kind of get on anyone's case about should they use mods, or like, are mods a good thing or a bad thing? And to me, it seems like if it gets you to continue playing a game that you would otherwise have said, forget it, I'm disinterested in, then perhaps that makes them a good thing. Because after all, the main importance of any game is that you play and enjoy it. And if we can play and enjoy it, then that's what we're after, right? And that's all there is to it. And come in here and okay, apparently this doesn't get us access. So what was even the point of all of that is a question that we can ask ourselves and be a little disappointed in, and recognize that, like, the boiler room, like, if we're supposed to be gaining energy from the boiler room, apparently that doesn't actually mean anything. because we have no power to it, and apparently there isn't a way for us to divert power to it, because the vent goes there and it seems to have a dead end. So what was even the point of all of it? And we might ask ourselves, and the answer is apparently very, very little point to it all. And that's a disappointing thing, but alack and alas, it's where we are. And so if we're coming through here, and the power can go through any of these rooms, but there's a dead end there with the vents. And if we come up here, these vents here, and go in here, if it goes in here, it doesn't achieve anything, and if it comes over through here, does it also not achieve anything? It also doesn't achieve anything. So we appear to have just sort of largely disappointed ourselves and left things pointless and upsetting. So if we come here in that passageway into there's nothing, and the only other thing that we can check and see is if we have. This one also does not appear to have anything to do with events. It's wonderful and stupid. Okay, well, anyways, I guess then we can just proceed with finding other rooms and see if we can achieve anything else with this run here. Maybe a trip back through the den to resupply and a few things, although looking at all the things that it would resupply, we're certainly in good situations for. Although it is time for me to, by looking at the time here, it does appear that it's a good time for me to say thank you for joining me in this endeavor. I love and appreciate every single one of you. My advice in this playthrough, as I stretch and my voice becomes strained for it, is do whatever it takes to enjoy a game. If it means modding a game, mod a game, and you don't have to have good reasons for it. You can just enjoy playing the game how you enjoy playing the game, and that's good. That's good enough, and it better be good enough for anyone. That's just that's kind of what enjoyment of life is. Do things how you want to do, as long as it's not hurting anyone, and you playing the game how you like doesn't hurt anyone. So there you go, and that's what I have for you. Love you. Bye. Definitely feeling much more optimistic as we feel like there's actually even at least just a small chance that we'll find something and achieve something cool out of this game, because it gets old doing nothing every single run.